Welcome back to the Gun Collective podcast. My name is Jon Patton. As per frickin' usual, we've got another amazing guest because we don't have unamazing people on this show. But first, before we get into the discussion, we got to call out some sponsors. First is Camerado, Camorado. You can see if you're watching the video, I am wearing the Sea Smoke camo. That is our signature camo with Camerado. There's a whole bunch of other amazing colors. It's, if you want to get a little fancy, get a little bright, you can do that. If you want to do something that's more earth tones, they've got something that will be legit for just about any area of the country, any area of North America. Go check it out. Camorado.com/TGC. If you use that, you'll get yourself a little discount. Also, XS sights. If you guys don't have good iron sights on your pistol, you're screwing up. It's just that simple. You don't have all of the tools that you need to be successful, whether you're training, just having fun, or you're saving your own life and those around you. Get yourself some XS sights. And if you use the code TGC on xssights.com, you'll get 20% off. It's one of the biggest discounts we have right now, and it's awesome. xssights.com. Now, the man that is joining me is a return guest. We've got Cameron Tapler from Palmetto State Armory. Cameron, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, sir. How are you? I'm doing better now that the Eagles won, but we're good.
So we talked about this a little bit last time. You are down in the Carolinas. However, You're a Northeast boy. Where are you from originally again? Where in Pennsylvania?
Right outside. I'm from Allentown, so right outside of Philly, about an hour north of Philly. So, I mean, blood, Philadelphia sports.
We bleed green, baby.
Yeah, it's in my blood. I'm raising my kids the same way, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm sure they're going to be depressed later in life. But right now we're riding the wave and we're riding high, so we're going to go ahead and go forward with that.
What do you think it's like for the younger generation that thinks this is normal for the Eagles to be a really good team?
Yeah, dude. I mean, so like my son's 6 and he saw 2 Super Bowls now. And I'm like, dude, like this is not normal, right? Like this is not normal. I was like, we didn't see our first one till 2004 for me, right? And, we've had a lot of heartbreaks with a lot of Philadelphia sports teams in our day. So, it's not normal for that. I was like, don't get used to it. He goes, Dad, are they going to be in the Super Bowl again next year? I'm like, son, listen, let's just appreciate this win now. Let's take what we got in front of us, and then let's see how the next year goes. Because we thought we were going to be going back to the Super Bowl last year, and look what happened, right? We go on this run, 10 wins in a row, and then we start losing everything. And I'm like, this is a typical sports team.
I have a deep appreciation for the fact that we kick the crap out of Andy Reid.
Yes.
There's some sweet justice going on because I didn't like him when he was in Philadelphia, but beating him when he's already got a successful team because they played well.
Yes.
Not that game, but in other games.
No, it was crazy. Everyone leading up to the Super Bowl was talking about, the Eagles are a better team, but they don't have a quarterback. They don't have this. They don't have that. And they just came out and,
they showed up.
They just whooped their ass. That's just what happened, right? But we were talking earlier, it wasn't enough points the entire game. When there was 5 minutes left in the game, we were up 40-6. My friends were like, "Oh, this is over." I'm like, "There's 5 minutes left." I was like, "I am a Philadelphia sports fan. We don't do nothing until those clock hit 0.
We could still screw this up."
Yeah, right. Come on. We don't stop until the clock hits 0.
Right. And I think that's one of the best things that we can experience in the Philadelphia area because it's generally pretty miserable up here.
Well, I moved, pal.
So you moved down and what? So you have this sort of moving target of a job at Palmetto State Armory. What is your current title? Because I'm sure it's changed since the last time we talked.
Yeah, so my current title is the Director of Branding and Product Management. So I kind of handle the branding side, but I also handle all of our product lines and our product management side of things too. This is my 5th job since I've been at PSA. I'll be at PSA 9 years in April.
Wow,
it's crazy to think about, right? I didn't know any different, when I started. To see where I'm at today is really, really cool. Also,
right.
The company's really cool. So now I handle all of our social media. I handle our content. I, kind of help grow the brand, give the direction, but then I'm also involved with the product management side. So I'm able to kind of have my hand in the product side. What are we doing? What does the gun need to be? What are the specs? What does it need to look like? What does it need to function like? Right. So
you're part of the team that tortures us every year with these polls and we'll get into the poll in a little
Yeah.
bit, but you're part of
Yep.
kind of trying to push the brand forward.
Yep.
One of the things I that came to mind when I was thinking about talking to you today is there's a big perception of PSA as a whole that largely comes from years ago, where you guys are the brand that represents the quote unquote poors, and that, you know, even if you buy a nice gun or whatever from PSA, it's bound to be a piece of shit. What do you guys do to like internally? What's
Yeah.
the like? How do you handle that? Because that seems like an uncomfortable thing to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, right? But I think we embrace it pretty well, right? I mean, the thing for us what separates kind of like how we look at things is we we read every comment, right? Like I do it myself. It's hard. Like I can't
That
like I
sounds
can't help it.
exhausting.
Yeah, it's exhausting, right? But the other thing we do is like we take like the feedback seriously, right? And yeah, obviously on the feedback on the concept guns and stuff like that, we'll get into and we'll talk more about that. But like, we as a company, we have a production meeting every morning at 9 o'clock in the morning, right? I'm in it. The CEO Jamin's in it. We have a lot of the higher ups are in it, right? And it's about manufacturing production. But we literally review every repair that came in the day before as a team to try and identify if there's an issue, if there's an assembly issue, if there's a product issue, if there's a parts issue, to identify and fix the problem if there is a problem, or educate the customer if there's a problem that they're having, right? So
Sure.
we kind of react in two facets. It's like, hey, is this an education of the customer type of mindset, right? Because we sell a lot of guns to people that are just getting into the firearms. That's kind of like where we started. Our bread and butter is affordable firearms, right? And like we'll still never change that. Now we've added some new products that kind of raise that bar a little bit, right? And we have some higher end products as well. But we still do educational training with our customers. Like we spend time customer sends a repair in, we're on the phone with them, we're FaceTiming with them, we're walking them through like, hey, this is why this happened, this is how you fix it, this is how you get around it, or this is what you're not supposed to do. So we just try to work with our customers and take the feedback seriously we get. Obviously there's a lot of bullshit out there that kind of gets spread around, right? But we also try and take a lot of things seriously, and we react as fast and as quickly as we can.
So with that in mind, are you excited about the Saber lineup kind of opening people's eyes as to what you guys are really capable of? Because that's what it seems like that was done for.
Yes.
It's a higher price point product.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's going great. I mean, so we started that. Jamin came to me and was like, "Hey, we haven't really refreshed our AR line in a long time." And this was like 3 years ago now, and was like, "Hey, let's try and do something unique. Let's step out of the box of the everyday stuff." And so that's kind of where the Saber line came from. I wanted to kind of have some fun with it, do some cool stuff, show people that like we can do this too, right? And we could still make it affordable, right? We're using some of the best stuff out there. We're using micro-best BCGs, we're working with Radian on, the charging handles, the safeties, right? Some of the stuff that people are putting in their guns, we wanted to have from the factory, but still be very competitive in price.
Sure.
And so, it's grown year over year. The first year, sales, into the second year almost doubled. Wow. And now we're going into year 3, and it's already on a trajectory to, I wouldn't say triple, but it's going to be, maybe another third on top of the from that last year's number, right? So it's growing and doing very, very well. I think it punches well above its weight class in what the market is offering, and we get to have some fun with it, right? You can see behind me some of the color combinations we're doing, and we're doing some clone-ish guns, making them affordable for the customer. We're not trying to be a 1-for-1 clone. That's not what Saber is, right? It's supposed to be a fun, hey, like this is something that I never could afford before. They're not made anymore. They're not for the civilians, right? Well, let's have some fun with it, make something that's similar to it, have a really good, well-built gun, and something that people go out, train with, and shoot and have some fun with it.
What's the most popular Saber product right now? Do you know?
Yeah, so it's our M110 at home still, right? It's our 308 with the quad rail, with the A1 stock and all that stuff. But then like these color combination guns, people love it, right? We single-handedly, I think, brought back RAL 8000 as a color, and so it's people call it baby poop brown or whatever.
Yeah,
But,
it's
I love it, and I think
I like it too.
Yeah, I think it fits the vibe of the colorways, and we get to have some fun with it. But that's really been popular, and we started that on our 308 line, and then people were like, I want that same color in 556. So we did it, and that's selling out every day. We put them in stock still, and
Wow.
then we're doing a 300 blackout version that we're gonna hopefully get out by the end of this month, and it's gonna be in the same colorway. But we're working with like our friends over at Rifle Speed, right? They make a great adjustable gas block, a very high end adjustable gas block, and it's coming standard on our guns as part of the package. And so, we're able to provide that value to the customer with great quality product.
I think it's interesting because I can't think of another brand that started in a budget space that was able to successfully be in a higher end space and a budget space simultaneously. It's pretty freaking rare to be able to do that. Even when, like say Smith and Wesson does a higher end gun, you kind of have a little bit of like, well, is this
Yeah.
a higher end gun? You start to question it. I've
Yeah.
seen plenty of brands try and
Yep.
just fail miserably at it.
100%.
So it's kind of neat to see you guys living in all of those spaces. Do you think that being a retailer and understanding the market in general has given you better perspective on that?
100. Yes. Yes. You hit the nail on the head. Like, our website is our most powerful asset that we have as a company, right? We got some really good people, we got some great products, but the website is the most powerful thing that we have, right?
Well, it's a
Because
giant research like generator, like market research is right in front of you.
100%, right? So like, my life is easy. So we got some newer guys on the product management side that came from other companies, and they had to do a lot of research manually to figure out what market is, right? Like, what is the market for X product, or like, what does it look like for sales in this category, right? Well, we have that here, right? So, like, I mean, we are the number one trafficked outdoor and shooting website in the United States. And the benefit that we have is, we sell our product, but we sell everybody else's product too, right?
Right.
And, I think, as a whole, our website is a high tides raise all ship mentality, right? Like, we want everybody on there, right? We want people to just come to us for everything that they need. And, we're adding new brands and new categories every day for our website. But to your point, like, we are able to access the data to know, like, oh, there's a little bit of a niche over here. We might be able to dig that, mine that gold of that niche until it's gone, and then move to the next one, right?
Sure.
But yeah, like, our website, we're able to get the data that we need. We can see what's being searched. We can see like what people are looking for and all that stuff real time. So, we have a really, really, really good e-commerce team over there. The analytics team, they're able to pull the data and get us the information we need when we need it, to make sure that we're successful and identify opportunities on a daily basis.
I mean, you almost have to have a really strong team to be able to pull off any of what you
Yeah.
guys are doing. I mean, gun websites as a whole are absolute dog shit.
Hmm.
I mean, I look at them all the time because of researching all their new
Yeah.
products. It's shocking to me how many people have a like absolute dog shit website.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to click on something and be like, oh, that's what they said it would be, or all of the information is
Yeah.
there.
It's right
Look,
there.
there's a picture.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, yeah, and we're trying to do better every day. I mean, these guys are constantly updating the website, right? On a daily basis, hourly basis. They're up there updating the website, trying to make it more navigatable for the consumer to get on there and search and be able to find things that they need to find easier, right? There's a lot of times, we put a new product on the website, and in the production meeting we were talking about earlier, we'll be like, okay, let's go find it, right? And if we
Mm,
can't find it right, we then are like, hey, e-commerce, we need to kind of look through this again. We need to make sure that we can find this navigatable. Like, it's, this doesn't make sense here. We need to move it. We just act like a normal customer and go through it, and try and figure out what it is, and it works for me. I don't want to say it comes natural, right? Because it's hard work. Like, it's not easy, but I am our target customer, right? Like, that's like me as our core. So it's easy for me to kind of go in and be able to be like, okay, I'm a millennial mindset. We're doing this, we're doing that. Like, okay, this doesn't make sense here. That's not how I would want to look for it. And we're able to, as a team, come together and really make it better for everybody to use our website.
that's great. That's great. So last year at SHOT Show, you guys did something that kind of rocked the entire industry, and that was putting out a poll
Yep.
that you were like, hey, we have these example guns, and I believe it was 10 last year as well, and we want you guys to vote on this. And the industry just flipped their fucking lid. Everybody everyone's talking about it. Everyone's excited about it. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Everybody has their favorites. And you've done that again. I want to sort of recap what happened last year, because there were a lot of guns on that list that were really cool, that people really, really got excited about. Have any of them made it to production yet? And if not, why?
Yeah. So what we did, kind of just starting from the top, right? So, a few years back, we brought, about 5 years ago, we brought in like a PSA version of an MP5, right?
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So we brought it to SHOT Show, right? And we had every intention of doing that gun, getting it to the market, getting it out there for the best price out there, right? That was our focus. Well, then we started developing it, getting it going, looking into it. Then more MP5 style guns started going up on the market, showing up on the market. Imports started coming in on that platform at a really good price. And so we wanted to be the most affordable one out there. And at the end of the day, we just couldn't do it with what that competition was out there, right?
Okay.
So we ended up shelving that project, right? And we didn't do a good enough job explaining that to the customer, right? We still get comments. Yeah. And like we admit that, right? Like, 100%. Now, obviously that was 5-6 years ago. We're not the same company. So that's why we're trying to do things differently. Right. And so what we're trying to do now is have like realistic expectations. And like I told you earlier, like we take the feedback seriously. So what we decided to do last year is like, we got all these prototypes. We got all the engineers together, like, hey, let's take some prototypes. Let's show people what they are, like a concept car, right? People show concept cars at these car shows, that are still ways out, but like they want to see what the feedback is and get the, the boom and let's see like what happens. Well, we decided to do that last year and it was awesome. We had a poll on our website where people could vote on their top 3 favorite guns. And, the message was like, hey, tell us what you want. Tell us what you're looking for. Give us the feedback. Tell us what you don't like. Tell us what you do like. Comment. Let us know. It's great. So what we did, we took the top 4 guns from last year and all of them are going into production, right? One of those guns already launched, which was the 308 Jackal that we launched at the end of this past year.
Okay, and that was on that. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So the Jackal 10 was on the poll. That was number 2 voted on the poll last year. So that one came out, right?
Okay.
But when you have aluminum-based gun, it's easy to get out, right? When you have injection molding guns, those take time. So the next 3 guns that were voted on was our PSA X 5.7, which is our 5.7 PDW.
The MP7 at home.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And so that tooling has all been kicked off and paid for, but it just takes time to get it out to the market, right? So we're still.
Do you have an estimated time on when that may come to market this year?
Our goal
will it be this year?
Yeah, it will be this year. Our goal is to try and get it out before Q3 of this year.
Got it.
It is our goal, right? So that was number 1 voted. The Jackal 10 was voted number 2. So that one is, obviously launched. Number 3 was our shotgun, our modular build it yourself shotgun that you can build your own, do it with any configuration you want.
And that was the 570?
Yep, the 570. Okay. Yep. And so all of that is paid for. All the tooling's kicked off on that. That one we're going to try and get out in Q3 of this year. Okay. That's a this year launch as well. And then number 4 was the VOOC, which is kind of like a Jackal-ish, AK-ish modular system, right? It uses AR-15 fire controls, AR-15 safeties, AR-15 grips, but it's like a Jackal platform, but it takes AK style mags. And that one we gave an update on before SHOT Show. Kind of showing like the feedback we got over the year of what they want to change aesthetically and all that stuff. And so that one's still kind of trying to get out this year as well. But we're still working through the development side of that. So,
I think what's fascinating is that that event has been historically shit on by everyone for showcasing guns that weren't available. And I think perhaps the difference is, and please weigh in on this.
Yeah.
I think the difference is that you guys were honest about what the gun was before. You didn't go, hey, look, we're going to start selling this. And then it didn't actually exist. You were like, no, these don't. Yep. What do you want?
Yeah,
I don't think anybody had done that before.
Yeah. And like we took a different approach over the last 2 years. Is like, we give updates all the time. Like we give feedback, we do videos, we spin up videos. Like we're like, hey, this is realistically like where we're at, right? Like, hey, this is where the gun was. This is where you're at. Like I take the stuff that happened with the MP5 personally, and I don't want to ever have that happen again. I want to set realistic expectations for our customers. We as a team here work hard every day to get these guns out as fast as we can, but we also are not trying to cut corners. And certain things just take time. And if we just communicate that to the customer and let them know that, then obviously the feedback you've seen has been really, really great for us, because we're trying to dialogue with our customers and keep them in the loop on what's going on.
I think, I mean, if it's not already clear, that's exactly what the fucking gun industry needs.
That's exactly how I feel about it too, right? And like we felt like
it's not a new concept either. Like
no. And that's why we even did some of our videos we did this past summer. Like we did like a whole mini series about JJE Capital, showing like what the insides look like, right? Because we want to be as much of an open book as we possibly can, obviously without showing some of the secrets and stuff like that. But we want to show the process. We want to show the thought process.
Well, the secret is that you own the vertical.
Correct.
That's the secret.
Yeah, correct. Right. And we wanted to show people that, like, hey, like we do this. We also make our own forgings. We make our own barrels. We make the BCGs. Like we own this company. We own that company. Right. Like it all funnels back to what PSA is, and trying to open the door a little bit so people can see who we are and how we operate, so they can kind of understand like the flow and how things work.
I think that's wonderful. It's wonderful to see any level of transparency and any amount of communication, and the fact that you're out there, even when things are not as successful as you would, or not moving as quickly or whatever, you take that and say, look, here's where we're at. Let's be honest with our customers. And I think the gun buying community as a whole, at least the intelligent ones, are going, fuck yes. Yeah. Even if I think the thing is, even if it's not benefiting the like super discerning is not the right word, the douchey guys that like refuse to be accepting of PSA, those guys are still benefiting from the industry getting their balls kicked in by you guys doing this sort of thing and changing the way it's done.
Yeah, for sure. And like, like to your point, like even if it's not good feedback, like I still need to get it out there, right? Like, so the STG 44, right? We got that, we acquired that, and we wanted to get that out to the market. Once we got all the stuff in and we started rolling in it, we were like, yep, we're going forward. And then it just started snowballing, right? It started snowballing and started to be a resource suck. We saw that the gun's going to be, a little bit more expensive. Like, I mean, we had to put that on hold for us to get other guns out to the market, because
I think that project was a fucking disaster.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, like we said in the video, like it's not that we're getting rid of it right now. We're just not working on it right now. Like it's just like it just started sucking all of our engineering resources. We got a great engineering team here now, man. Like we have some of the best firearms engineers in the industry working for us. We got some guys from other companies that are here now that have been in the industry for a while. They are very knowledgeable. They are very talented. And we needed to let them spread their wings and not being held up by that project right now. It was being a boat anchor for our success on getting other guns out that people want, right? And like,
well, when I remember putting hands on one of the original prototypes of that guns when Hill and Mac had it at events years and years ago, and it seems like that's the gun that will never come to be.
Yeah. I mean, we could like getting it out in 8mm Kurtz. That's not a problem, right?
Sure, it's getting it out in the cartridge that actually exists.
Exactly, and that is the key there. And I obviously it wasn't easy for us to do it. Like, I mean, I was getting like teary eyed trying to do the video, right? Like I felt like I was old Yeller in the freaking the 44, right? Like like we got it, but at the end of the day, I wanted our customers to be on it and to know the truth, right? And that sometimes is not the answer they want to hear, but it's the answer they need to hear. And that is more or less the message that we're going forward with.
Do you know whatever happened? And this is, I don't know what your arrangement was in acquiring that. Do you know whatever happened to the people that put down deposits and shit on that when it was, that project was, held by Hill and Mac?
I wasn't involved with that side of things. I
Sure.
was more just trying to, promote it and, talk
Right. Yeah.
about
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
product right side. So, and like I said, back then I wasn't really as involved with the product management side of, I mean, I was, but I wasn't on like the day to days working with engineering. So like the
Right.
what doesn't work, what's not working on the gun and all that stuff. I'm not knowledgeable on that side of things. I just know that if they were able to get it out, it would have been out. Right. Like those guys
Oh
are some of
yeah.
the best guys, but I think that there's some things that they had to try and fix. And again, like we got 23 active firearm projects as of right now that are all being worked on. And that
Good
is a
God.
lot of projects, like that is a lot of projects. Our goal this year is to try and launch a new product every month for the rest of the year.
I mean, I'm excited about that because I get to talk about all the new stuff all the time. I'm excited about that. So, that's a good segue into this year. You guys have set the industry on fire again. Um, the poll this year included a lot of stuff that I thought was interesting in terms of like this is even an option.
Yep.
Um, and what we're making sure that this comes out after you guys do your
Yeah.
release of
Yep.
what
Yep.
came out. So let's talk about it. What won
So
this year?
number one was the Saber 11, which was the double stack 1911.
Are you surprised by that?
100%.
You're surprised by that. I am not shocked at all
So
that won.
I'm like a little bit of both, right? Because
Okay.
I think people are expecting it to be what my fear is, right? And
I know where you're going with this,
yeah,
and I'm excited to hear this out of your
yeah, yeah.
face.
I'm trying to say this the right way, right? Because we said it at SHOT Show and all the videos we did, right? This is not a budget double stack 1911, right? That is not what we are trying to do here, right? This is a custom built, gun that is hand fit, that is, we might only build 2 a day, right? Like this is
Sure.
not something we are mass producing at scale to get the price point down. These are going to be hand fit, really high quality guns. Now, the price point we're going to try and hit with this is going to be a very, very fair, like great value for what this gun is. But my only fear is that people voted on it because they thought it was going to be like a cheaper alternative
Well,
to
of
some
course,
of the
that's
guns.
why they voted on it.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
that's what they expect from PSA at this point.
Yeah, and that's why we did it as Saber brand, because that
Sure.
is already a little bit more, it's not in the same budget friend, it's value driven, but it's not a budget gun, right?
Have you announced what you anticipate the pricing for that to be?
No, we haven't yet. I mean, we're still working through some of the steps of it, right? Because we took it to show as a concept gun and we wanted to see the feedback. So now we're trying to really dial in like how aggressive we can be on the price. So we're still working through that. Now it's not going to be, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to say a price, right? Because I don't want to like.
Okay, well, let me ask you this: will it be above $3,000?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right, I'm just gonna say it. If I can't get it around the $2,000 price point, I don't want to bring it to market.
Listen, if that thing is fucking good
Yes.
for 2 G's, you're gonna set the world on fire.
And that's our goal, right? I think what it's going to do is it's going to take a little bit of time for people to shoot it, right, and get it in their hands and get it out there for people to see the quality of this product. But we're trying to get around that $2,000 price point is like right where we're trying to be now. When we come out with like a comp version or something like that, it'll move
Sure.
up, or if we add different things, it might move up in price from there. But like we want to be at the floor of like 2,000.
And I think it's important for people listening to understand that where you want to be may have to shift based on material costs, because with the world continuing to fall apart at its seams for various reasons.
Yes.
That could get a little weird.
Yes.
So I mean, anywhere, I think if you sort of cap it at like 2,500 ish, that would be a really amazing price point for what the value is that you're like telling me that you're going to provide.
100%.
That'd be sick.
And like I said, it's not something, we're going to have a team custom built. Like this is like not a you're just putting it on, you're sending it, right? Like everything's going to be meant to be fit together. Like, I mean, it's smooth as glass. Like it's great out of the box, like ready to rip,
Sure.
And so, but yeah, I mean, I wasn't. Like I said, I knew it was going to be popular because that's all the fad right now, right?
Right.
But my only fear is that some of the people that voted on that were our expectations are different price point.
Well, I will confirm those fears for you. It's 100% true
Yeah.
because a lot of people still don't know what Saber means.
Correct.
They like you're still doing education on that
Yeah.
from a
Yep.
brand perspective. So I think a lot of people, one, didn't care, and two, don't know what it means. So
Yep.
you're
Yeah.
going to run into that for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
and so
definitely
that's
going to.
and I think the more we do, the more we get out there. Especially part of the Saber brand, like showing the quality of what we're making. Showing like
Right.
how the guns perform, the parts and the guts, and like how they are. Like I mean, that's kind of goes into that. But yeah, to your point, like we launched Saber 2022, February of 2022, so it hasn't even been 3 years yet, right?
Sure.
We launched it the very last day of 2022, right? So we're still growing that brand, but it's been very successful for PSA so far.
So what was number two?
Number two, sorry, I gotta look at my notes over here. Number two was the Saber Lancet.
That's the 50.
Yes, the 50.
I swear to fuck, I saw that and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. No, I mean, it's something we've been joking about for like
Right.
3 years now. Like, hey, it would be really cool to have a 50, right? And it all just kind of came together and like brainstorming and like, oh, how do we make it like more affordable? Like, how can we streamline it? How do we do this? How do we make it extra safe? Like, how do we get all this stuff done? And I think we're going to be able to do it at a very, 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 very good price point.
So what I said when I covered that was that gun could still be a $5,000 gun and be the cheapest gas operated 50 out there. And yes. I think a lot of people miss that because the perception is this is going to be cheap. And a cheap 50 doesn't fucking exist.
No, not in gas. I mean, it will be in competitive to some of the prices you see on bolt actions.
50. Okay. So even then, that's still really, really solid.
Yeah.
My question is, where do you anticipate, like, is accuracy a big consideration with that gun? Absolutely. Or are you kind of going, it's going to be a battle rifle, it could be a 4 MOA gun?
No, I mean, I think it's going to be a balance. I mean, I think it's going to be a balance. I mean, we haven't even like really like, so we just got back from SHOT, right? Obviously we just got our guns back. So, we were just talking about this earlier, like, we got some diving in to do, right? That was a concept for SHOT. A lot of the feedback we got is, we kind of made it like a tube gun-ish, right? So
yeah, I saw that.
But we're going to try to change that up a little bit and maybe add some angles to that. So that way, it has some angles and aesthetics, right? So we're dialing all that stuff in right now, right?
It's really a matter of trying to make it not look as cheap as it currently does.
Correct, right? So, obviously, again, that was a concept gun for SHOT Show, right? So, we're working through some of that right now. And so, and into testing and all that stuff. So, I think we're going to be able to do it though. Like, I really do. Now, the problem that we have is we got to figure out where the hell we're going to test fire them all. Our ranges that we have here are not rated for 50 cal. So,
right. Yeah. That's an issue across the country. A lot of ranges are like no 50s, even though you can, on those very same ranges, a 416 is just fine, which makes no sense.
Correct. I think it's a stigma around it, right? But our goal is to make 50 cals great again, make them affordable. Like that's what we do at PSA, and yeah.
I'm fucking excited. I mean, 50, I think it's very important to understand 50 BMG ammo is absurd. Is that something that AAC might take on?
They might. Yeah. So that's an honest conversation we're having. Like that is something like, we thought I thought that was going to be number one. But obviously the 2011 was number one, but yeah, that is, we're trying to see what this looks like to support the entire platform. Right. Like,
you almost have to, cause it's still, I don't know what your cheapest 50 is, probably $3 or $4 a round.
Yeah. I think it's like $4. I was going to say $4 to $5. Like it's about $4 a round. Right. Like,
goodness. Yeah, I remember when you could still get, and it wasn't that long ago, you could still get it for like $1 a piece.
I remember.
Goodness, I feel old as shit now.
I remember like when I worked at Cabela's in like 2010, it was like $1.50 a round.
Goodness.
Yeah.
And then the match stuff, and I'm saying this out loud because I want the audience to remember, match 50 BMG ammo could be $10, $15, $20 a shot.
Yep.
And it's good ammo and it's really, really good, but you got to figure it's a projectile that weighs almost 10x what some of these, like your 9mm might weigh.
Yep.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's a 7 to 900 grain projectile. It's a bunch of material.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a big
Yeah.
boy.
So that's exciting. I personally, like, that's the one I put at the top of mine with a bullet. Like, holy shit. Yes.
Yep.
A cheap 50. Fuck yes, I'm in.
Yeah. I mean, I think like it's going to be affordable, right? It's going to be the cheapest gas gun on the market, right? And so I think it'll make it affordable and maybe bring some people into that, market and be able to help. I've always wanted one, right? Like, so
Right.
I'm going to buy one. I can afford one now, right? So, I think it'll be fun.
If you guys can keep that, I mean, if that's an inch gun, an inch and a half, I'll be excited because most 50s are just not that accurate.
I know.
They're
And
just not,
that's going to
especially
be
the semi-autos.
yeah, it's going to be the balancing act, right? We
Sure.
kind of have a rough price point we want to hit with that gun. And if we can get there and get a really high quality barrel made for it, then we're absolutely going to do it.
Yeah, that's exciting. Even if you have to make a match version of the gun later on that is
Yeah.
even more accurate.
Yeah,
that's exciting for me.
Get the manufacturing process dialed in and get
Right.
it rolling, and then add that match barrel down the road.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that come to fruition. So obviously that's still very much a prototype. Is that a more than a year out project, you think?
Yeah, it's probably next year sometime. If all goes well, sometime probably middle of next year is realistically.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll give updates, and that's kind of a part of the concept poll, is like giving updates throughout the year of like where the project is. That goes back to the communication piece that we try to do here on a daily basis. So,
Sure.
we'll kind of keep that moving along and keep projecting that out to the consumer, letting them know where it stands and what's going on.
So what's number 3?
Was the semi-automatic 570.
Fuck yes.
So
That was
what's
also
really,
on my personal list.
yeah. So what's really cool, we have a really good shotgun design engineer, and he designed that modular 570 last year, and he was able to make the same receiver into a semi-automatic. So if you build a pump action shotgun out of that receiver set and want to change it to a semi-auto, you can with this 5 or 6 parts,
That's
right?
wild.
So
That's unheard of.
yeah, so we did a lot of cool things on it. So we, instead of having the charging handle on the bolt, we moved it kind of forward on the handle, on like right by where you would hold the gun. So it's kind of like a pump stock, like it looks like where a pump would be, but a little bit closer. But then you rack it; it's non-reciprocating, so you don't have to worry about it like being in your way of your hands or anything like that about when you're shooting. And the slide release is on the same spot as we have it on our pump action. So like it's literally the most versatile shotgun platform on the market.
I think what's interesting as a whole, that sort of concept of creating ecosystems was running deep through your poll this year. It was really clear to me that something that you guys are trying to do is create individualized ecosystems where a user, a customer could kind of choose their own adventure with a given platform. And I think obviously allowing somebody to build a semi-auto and then be able to still swap it over with very little effort, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, dude. No, 100%. Yeah, and like when we first started talking about it, I didn't know if it was actually going to happen and if it was work. He was able to get it to work. But like to your point, like the whole idea and like in my personal opinion, the future is ecosystems, right? And there's a lot of firearm platforms out there that don't have a good ecosystem for them. Or, you buy it from here and then you got to go here to get this part, or you go here to there, right? Well, beginning of the conversation, our website's the most powerful thing we have. Let's just get it all together, right? And
Sure.
and that's kind of the idea, is bring other brands in, to be a part of the, help grow the platforms out and make it fun. Because we'll never, people ask us all the time, like, hey, can you just do a drop down menu where I can pick this stock, this muzzle brake, this whatever? Yeah. We can't. We mass produce guns. If we did that, we would pretty much shut down the entire production line, because we're building one-offs all the time. Like, we mass produce here. And so we'll never be able to do that. But what we can do is foster the ecosystem on our website where it's a build it yourself setup, and you can pick and choose and put it together at home.
So are you anticipating doing I guess like hunting style versions of that gun?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're going to have all kinds. We're going to have, and the nice thing about the shotgun is like the hanger system is free floating. So
Okay.
the mounting system for the tube and the barrel are on the back up against the receiver. So you can literally change out your tubes, your barrel lengths, whatever you want, however you want to do it. If you want a 10, a 10 shell feed tube and an 8-inch barrel, you can do that. Like you can do that, right? You can
I would.
have fun
I
with
mean,
it.
people are gonna fuck up the end of that tube with using the wrong equipment. I will say that. If
I-
you do that, don't
yeah.
be that dumb. It does start to open. You might contact something if it's that different.
Yes.
However, holy shit, that option. I'm
Yes.
in.
Yeah. You can have fun with it, I guess, is the
Yeah.
moral of the story. Right?
Yeah,
You can have it any way you like.
yeah. That's exciting. I'm a big shotgun guy. Like, I don't get to. I mean, for me, that those types of videos have never really done exceptionally well.
Yeah. Yep.
But at my core, I am a shotgun guy above all else. And seeing you guys make something interesting, I'm fucking in. I'm gonna take one out and go shoot sporting clays with it, because that's the kind of test that I want to know. And I want to be able to hunt with it, and I want it to be light on recoil. All of those things excite me, and the fact that you can kind of do whatever, create whatever you want as a customer. Fuck yes.
Yep. Absolutely.
What's our like sort of price point for, like, say, an 18.5-inch gun? Like, where are you trying to be?
That one's closer to getting to market, so I don't really want to commit to a price. But what I will say is
Come on,
that
Cameron, commit right now. Come on.
it's gonna be for the price we're gonna offer a complete gun at. It is gonna be the most affordable shotgun, like American-made shotgun out there. Like,
So, are you, when you look at that, are you trying to target Mossberg's pricing or Remington? Remington's not really a company anymore.
Yeah.
Let's be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal, like, if we're gonna try and sell it as a complete gun, it's gonna be sub $500 for the pump, right? Now
Sure, that's excellent.
now the semi-auto is probably gonna be a couple $100 more than that, right?
Even that's still good. Like,
but-
when I look at a good semi-auto, I think, my brain immediately goes to Beretta,
Correct.
and
Yeah,
I see an
Pirelli or
$1,800 gun.
Yeah. No, we're nowhere near that, right? Like, our goal is like 700 and below on everything, right?
Yeah, that's really strong.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
strong.
And then also, if you want to just buy the receiver and kind of build it your way, well, then we don't have FET involved in that. So then you don't have to pay the taxes, right? So then you can kind of make it your own way and do it your own stuff. That's even cheaper then.
That's exciting, honestly.
Yep.
Okay, so that was number
three.
3.
Yep.
What about number 4 on the poll?
So that one was our X9, right? So after we showed off our X 5.7 last year, great feedback, right? Like, people love the PDW style stuff. So we were like, oh, let's bring a 9mm version with us this year. And so now we asked in the video for feedback, like, hey, do you want to have it take Glock mags and look more like the X 5.7? Or do you want to make it like, hey, like this is different. This is kind of Uzi-ish, Mac style, like, delayed blowback. It's going to have a B&T mag versus a Glock mag, and it's going to be more of a forward grip versus an angled grip. And the overwhelming response we got from that was like, hey, make it different. Like, make it, do it the way you guys want to do it, right? Like, like, hey, Glock mags are great. Everyone's got them, but like, do something different and unique on the market. The B&T mags are great mags, like, and let's have some fun with it. And so that's kind of the idea that we did with that gun is we wanted it to have, a unique look and a unique feel. And we were able to achieve that by using the B&T mags.
How much are those B&T mags retail?
30,
I have no idea.
40, I think somewhere in the 40-ish range. I mean, I've seen them for as cheap as 30, I think, before.
So not crazy expensive. Because that was my fear. Is there a $60 mag or something?
No, I mean, I'm sure that there are some out there, and I don't misquote me on this, right? Like, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, but I want to say they were roughly 40, sub $50.
Okay. And I mean, these are higher capacity than some pistol type magazines. So that's cool.
So it's a 30-round mag, and it's a stick mag. It's got that clear stick see-through look, so it's like a smokish color. It's not just all clear. I don't know, it's kind of vibes, So.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I look at that gun as TP9 at home, like the MP7 TP9. I remember I learned about that gun the first time with Rainbow Six Vegas. And like that's how I learned about that, and I was like, hell yeah, I would love to have one of those.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the things that's really driving through culture right now is I want to own the gun that I use in the video game. I think that's a really, really common thing. And it
Yeah.
used to be, remember when you started in the industry, we started probably around the same time.
Yeah.
People used to shit on that. Like that
Yeah.
was not a cool thing. It was like, oh,
No.
you're
No.
just a gamer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
it's the
Now they
thing.
kind of. Yeah. Yeah. Now they. Yeah. There's some of that. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, oh, I built this in Call of Duty or whatever. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So what's our estimated, like, where are you trying to live price wise on the X9?
That's still really to be determined. I think it's going to be, obviously sub $1,000 is would be like the bare, like the maximum we would want to go on that.
Okay.
But that one is very, very early prototype. Like
Sure.
that
We're
one,
still trying to figure that out.
that one we flew with to SHOT Show. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Was it, I didn't I don't go to SHOT anymore.
yeah.
Was it like a 3D printed chassis or something? Like
Yeah. So we used a lot of 3D printed components on that,
Okay.
and being able to get that concept gun dialed in and ready to go for SHOT, a functioning prototype was, last minute hustle and bustle, ready to go.
Yeah. Put it in the carry on, the
Yep.
well, not
Let's
really,
roll.
but you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Check bag, go. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was number 4.
Yep.
What's number 5?
The 9mm Jackal. So
Okay.
yeah, which is, we brought that last year to the show. People liked it, but it wasn't as high voted. Now it was voted, it was like in the middle of the pack, right? And so, it was overwhelming response for the top 4. And then it was like a cliff, kind of fell off for the rest. But the top this year, the 9mm Jackal, and I think it's because we took some feedback from the shows and the feedback from the comments about aesthetics and kind of changed a couple things on it, that people really like the way it looked this year. So we changed some aesthetics on the lower and the upper. We kind of evolved the Jackal platform on a daily basis, kind of keep like making it better and better and better. And we were able to implement that in the 9mm Jackal to take to the show this year. And it's going to take CZ Scorpion style mags, which I feel like we make some of the best mags for that platform out there for our AKV that we have. And so, it's going to come with that mag, and people are really excited about that. And, again, it's kind of like that PDW style. Like, I mean,
Sure.
people love that right now.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you once again, where are we anticipating that one to be price wise?
It's going to be competitive with the Jackal lineup today. I mean, the Jackals, I think we like retail the Jackals every day at like $12.99. It
Okay.
might be a little bit cheaper than that because it's a little bit more not as intricate to make as a 5.56 or a 308 Jackal is. But so it'll probably be right around that $1,000 to $1,200 price point.
Okay, that sounds exciting. I
Yeah.
mean, as a whole, I think it's cool to see the Jackal line growing and evolving. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like where we see a lot of the future going, so we're going to keep adding to that and focusing in on expanding that catalog and, bringing some newer stuff for that. But yeah,
I've actually never shot a Jackal, none of them. So that's I'm excited to see that kind of taking on new life, because I wasn't sure where it would end up.
Yeah, no, and they're a lot of fun, and we do it, we do all the pin and welds here for everybody. So, every suppressor mount you could probably think of is on these guns from the factory. So, it's ready to go. What we did on the Saber and Jackal is like, I'm a big suppressor guy, and I really only like shooting suppressed if I can, and so we designed these guns to be suppressor used. That's why the adjustable gas blocks on the Jackal are where they are. They're very easily to tune, and they're really fun and smooth to shoot suppressed.
That's something that you only often see in higher end brands when they focus on that being an option. And I mean, I think we saw, with the wait times just plummet, we've seen more suppressor, enthusiasts pop up overnight.
Yeah.
And it's great to see more affordable options for people to shoot. I want to ask you about I can't remember what it was. I think it was like the Jackal M or something. The one that to me looked like you were shitting on the Scar 20S. It was the Precision one. What?
The Jackal Precision.
How did that one perform in your poll? Was it popular?
No, it was like 8, like 7 or 8. Like it
Hmm.
wasn't that popular. I thought it would be more popular because, of a 20-inch barrel, right? Because the Jackal 10 today we sell in a 14.5 pin and weld. That's like how we sell it, right?
Okay.
Now we will have a 16-inch version coming out for people that just don't care and just want a normal barrel length. That's fine. But we were trying to get some feedback to see if they wanted a longer barrel. And that one just, it didn't perform as well as we thought. I thought that was going to be in the top 5 for sure after all the buzz we had on the Jackal 10. But again, it kind of comes down to, like, we had a lot of bangers at the show, right?
Right.
Like, I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
I think in a realistic world, if we took off the 50 cal, took off the double stack 1911, that probably would have crept up in the top 5.
Yeah.
But like also at the same time, like, all the stuff we show at the shows, we're focusing on like the top 5 of the last 2 years because that's what people want. But the rest of the list doesn't mean it's not ever going to happen, right? Like we might still come out with these other guns. It just might not be at the front of the priority list.
Right. 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 So when you say precision, what comes to mind?
On that one, like we wouldn't sell that gun if it wasn't 1 MOA or better.
I've been on a tirade over the last, I don't know, year or so.
I know, I see this.
Okay. Well, I don't expect people to watch the videos.
Yeah.
I think
No, I
1
watch
MOA
everything.
is a bullshit standard,
Yeah.
and I'm fucking sick of it. And you saying 1 MOA or better, I tolerate it more because I look at PSA as a more affordable brand,
Yep.
and I'm like more willing to tolerate that.
Yeah.
Do you think you guys will? And the bolt, you had a bolt action on there. Was that last year or this year?
Yeah. We had so we're gonna do a Saber bolt gun. Then that's like gonna happen. We had like a PSA version of that as an option to vote on.
I see. Okay.
Like the Saber one, like I want that to be sub MOA, right? Like no frills, like that's
Like
a
it has
sub
to be.
MOA gun. Yes, correct. Now like the Jackal 10 Precision, it's a long stroke piston driven gun that is a monolithic upper. Like getting something like that sub MOA
It's hard.
every single time it's not easy. It's just not, that's not what that gun is intended for, right? Now like the 14.5 version, like we've shot that gun after broken in. We've shot some groups that were sub MOA, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen every single time, right? Like
right.
ammo dependent, all that stuff, shooter. It's not an easy, it's not just point and shoot and you're there, right? So I think the Jackal Precision were probably, that gun that we brought was like right around 1 to 0.9, 0.8 on some groups, which we were happy with.
Yeah,
right?
that's still pretty good. That's still pretty good.
Out of what that platform is, I think that's probably expected as like the best you can do.
What do you think when it comes to accuracy? And one of the kickbacks I got when I started, going on that tirade was that some of these guns are quote unquote battle rifles, and it's okay to have a 2 to 3 MOA gun. Does PSA have like sort of a North Star when it comes to accuracy?
It really all depends on what the gun is, right? Like, so we just did a video that we released yesterday where we took a 6.5 Creedmoor PSA $700 gun, took it out to 1,000 yards and showed it on video, like showed it shooting at 1,000 yards, right? No problems at all. Now the group at 100 yards was like a 1-inch group, but then at 1,000 yards, we were able to put 5 shots in a row at a, 10 by 10 plate at 1,000 yards, no
That's
problem,
great.
right?
What you said was a $700 gun?
Yeah. Our
that was unheard of a few years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Like unheard of.
So like, at 100 yards, it might not be sub MOA, but like that gun is still capable of pushing 1,000 yards, right? It was like 950 is where we were shooting at, was the target, right? So I call it 1,000. I'm sure someone's going to be like, oh
yeah, you'll catch shit about that.
That's yeah. So, but still, like these guns are capable of that, right? Now, some of the guns, like our Saber Super Sass, like we wanted that to be 1 MOA or better. Right. And we, we worked with, our friends at Faxon and got a match grade barrel for that. And, it runs really great and shoots pretty damn good. Now it's like some of our other 308s might be 1 inch to 1.5 inches, depending on your ammo you're shooting. Right.
Right.
We try and strive on the 308 side and the 6.5 Creedmoor side to be within that 1 to 1.5 MOA. That's like our target.
Do you think 308 as a cartridge is leveling out against 6.5 Creedmoor, or is it still heavily 308 for you guys?
Oh, it's heavily 308.
Do you think that's because the options are not there, or do you think people actually just like 308 that much?
I think people just like 308 that much, honestly. Like, I mean,
Okay.
because we have a lot of the same catalog in 6.5 and 308, but like it's it's definitely heavy weighted 308.
That's interesting.
Like heavy weighted 308. Now,
Yeah, I think if I grabbed a gun right now, like I would almost never pick a 308 over a 6.5 Creedmoor. And that's
yeah,
just it's just a preference thing, I guess.
yeah. So it all depends, right? I have both. Like for me, hunting in the South, like our shots are 80 to 100 yards.
Right.
Like 6.5 Creedmoor is just not like,
Right. Yeah, I got you.
I shot a doe at 80 yards with a 6.5 Creedmoor, and it pretty much just like solidified the bullet. There was no exit wound, right? Like you couldn't even see anything. There was no blood on the ground. There was nothing, but the deer dropped, right? Which was cool. But like a 308 for down here is just better, right? Like, I mean, I think it's more where you live,
Right.
or if you're trying to do target shooting, right? Like out to 1,000 yards, we did the 6.5 Creedmoor because that's how we feel is better for that kind of, shooting.
Agreed.
Right? Not saying 308 is not capable, but your bullet drop, your ballistics, like 6.5 is just better.
I mean, hands down, it's better. And I have seen that over and over and over again. It's just a better cartridge for long range.
Correct.
When I think of hunting in the South, my brain immediately goes to big bore. Is that something that's on your radar, like maybe a 458 SOCOM, a 50 Beowulf, something like that?
We're gonna do the 338 arc. That's coming. We're getting on that.
That's
train.
right. We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah. So we're getting on that train. So obviously we got some new guns that are coming out in 338 arc. And then we're doing 6 arc as well. But we got 338 arc coming. AAC is going to be spinning up 338 arc ammo.
Oh, great! That's good to know.
They're spinning up 6 arc ammo right now. So like we're getting down that path, and so those are kind of the newer calibers we're going to be getting into as far as guns and ammo go.
So let me ask you this. Last time you and I talked, the topic of 8.6 blackout came up.
Yep.
And that was something that a lot of people got excited about. Like, I think I posted a reel of you saying that, like, you're considering it or something like that. I don't remember exactly. It was distinctly missing this year from the poll. Why did PSA go, you know what, 338 arc is our path forward?
So we work a lot with Hornady.
Sure.
They supply a lot of our projectiles for AAC ammo, right?
Okay.
And that's just not something that they're really supporting right now. So from my perspective, I guess I should say. So the 338 arc is like kind of like what they're coming out with, and so we're doing that. I think 8.6 blackout is a great round. I think it's a great caliber. It's on my wish list of guns that I'm trying to get my wife to allow me to buy. I would love to have it. I mean, I think it's a great caliber. But we're going down 338 arc right now. Obviously if the 8.6 blackout ends up being SAMI approved at some point, then maybe that's a path that we might go down in the future. But we're really focusing on those SAMI kind of approved calibers.
Do you think Brittingham will push for that?
Yeah, I think so. I thought I saw like recently that he said it's going to be SAMI approved next year or something like that. I thought I saw that somewhere.
That's excellent.
Yeah, so I think he's pushing for that right now. I think if it does get SAMI approved, that obviously opens up the ammo market, right? Because that's the biggest thing is having ammo available, right? Like and I think the AAC side wanted something that they could support SAMI spec, like everything is a standard, right? Like because there's so much inconsistencies out there. So, I just don't think there's enough 8.6 blackout ammo on the market right now. Obviously that could change. Things change all the time, right? So, one of the best things we do here is, we pivot, right? And so, we can absolutely pivot on a dime if that's something we need to be working on. I think a Jackal and a 8.6 blackout would be dope. Right. So, I think it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I just don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon.
Sure. I really get excited about 338 arc and anything big, slow, and stupid. I'm in. I mean, I've got behind me. There are 2 500 Smith & Wesson. One's a lever gun. One is with I think 18-inch barrel. The other's a 16-inch barrel. Like big cartridges with heavy bullets. I'm absolutely in for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean anything that's subsonic, you count me in. right?
Yeah.
Like that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
You know, big subsonic ammo. That's what I'm in.
I think that's exciting, man. I think the future of what you guys have going on is there's so much. I
I
mean, you
know.
said you have a team of 20 some engineers working on all this stuff. It's fascinating to me considering what the possibilities are. Because I mean, uh, if you're aware of it, are there any gun companies that are pushing in this kind of way?
I don't think so, right? I mean, there are some good companies out there that are doing stuff, right?
Sure.
Obviously, we are trying to go and kind of forge our own path per se, right? You know, kind of to the point you're talking about, like, you know, no one's really doing these polls, communicating with the customer, talking and doing all that stuff like we are, you know, and that's something that we are kind of getting known for is the communication piece and talking and getting feedback. I think that really makes us unique because we don't only just make AR-15s, right? Like we don't, we have a wide range of a product line, so we're able to dip our toes in different markets. You know, not only having the Saber line now allows us to kind of push the envelope a little bit on some of the stuff we do, right? Like 5 years ago, if you would have told me PSA was going to be selling a $2,000 gun, I would have laughed at you.
Sure.
Right. And now we sell $2,000 guns on the regular on our Saber line. Right. Like that's just kind of, we have something for everybody. And that is kind of like the goal is we want a product that we can get into every market with, i.e. shotguns, i.e. bolt guns, right? Jackals, Saber, some of the, budget friendly PSA stuff. Right. And so, we're trying to get in all of it. Right. We want to be able to have something for everybody on our website.
That's fantastic, and I cannot wait to see how this progresses for you guys and evolves over time, because it seems like not only are you a giant company, but you're also capable of behaving like a small company, and that's fucking fascinating.
Yeah, that's one of the best things that I think we have going for us is that we are a bigger company now, but the owners are still involved. People are still that we're not some shareholders in another state giving direction, right? Like we meet every morning, right? We're as a team, like we're growing as a team. It's really cool to see. We got some really talented people here, man. Like we got some of the processes and some of the things we're doing on a daily basis now. Like it's just crazy to see when I walk through the shop floor. And I used to run manufacturing here, and now I like walk through and it's rearranged differently because the flow's better, right? Like some of that shit, like I didn't educate it in that side of the things, right? We did things the hard way, but we made it work. And now like just seeing like how they're dialing in the flow and the process driven and all this stuff, like it's really cool to see, but we're also not losing track of who we are at our core. And, that's, trying to spread freedom as much as we can.
Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate your time today, man. I know you are very, very busy, so it's awesome that you took the time to speak to us again.
Yep.
Where do you want to push people? Like where should they be looking to I mean, obviously the website is gigantic. Do you want to push people to your Instagram or something?
Yeah. So like, obviously Palmetto State Armory, we're doing a lot of content now. We're doing about 4 or 5 videos a week. So follow us on YouTube. That's a huge lift we're trying to take up here. We feel like that is where we're going for the future. So, follow us on YouTube at Palmetto State Armory. Follow us on Instagram at Palmetto State Armory, X and Twitter. Like that's like kind of like we're trying to push that as well. We're still figuring that side out, but we're on there. We're posting every day. We're engaging. And then my name's Cameron Tapler on all the social media platforms, Instagram, social, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. So, wherever you can find us, we're there.
I love it. I love it. Thanks, Cameron. Guys, if you're out there, be sure to check out Camerado and XS Sights. Use the code TGC. Save yourself some cash. It supports this show directly. And of course, as always, I appreciate all of you listening, watching, etc. We'll see you guys real soon.
Thanks.